Chiefs Kingdom. All right, this one hurts a little. I'm Victor, and if you've been riding with this team through the highs and the lows, you can feel it. Real changes are happening. First, we're cutting Jawan Taylor, admitting that $80 million didn't work out the way we hoped. And now? It looks like Pacheco, a two-time Super Bowl champion with this team, is likely walking in free agency. That's not minor roster tweaking. That's a shift. One move frees up cap space. The other potentially takes away the heartbeat of our backfield. After a 6-11 season, this feels like the front office saying, we can't run it back. Before we break all this down and talk about what it really means for Mahomes and Andy Reid moving forward, help us get to 1,600 subscribers. If you care about real Chiefs talk, you're in the right place. All right, let's talk about what's really changing in Kansas City. I'm going to be honest with you. This isn't just a cap decision. This is the front office looking in the mirror and saying, we got this one wrong. According to Adam Schefter, the Chiefs are releasing Jawan Taylor, and that decision saves roughly $20 million in cap space. On paper, that sounds like flexibility. But emotionally, it's an admission. Because this was a 4-year, $80 million contract signed in 2023. This wasn't some low-risk depth signing. This was supposed to solidify the offensive line. And look, Taylor did start 45 games for us. He helped win a Super Bowl. That matters. You can't erase that. But if we're being real, and that's what we do here, the production just didn't match the contract. Last season, he started 12 games. Pro Football Focus ranked him 80th out of 89 tackles in 2025. That's near the bottom of the league. He graded better in pass protection, 49th, but as a run blocker, 88th out of 89. That's tough, especially when your offense already struggled with consistency. And that's where this hits harder. We just came off a 6-11 season. Mahomes is coming back from a serious knee injury. The offense wasn't explosive, the run game wasn't reliable, and protecting your quarterback, especially one recovering from torn ligaments, should be priority number one. So when you move on from your starting right tackle, it sends a message. The standard is higher than this. Now some people are going to say, well, $20 million in savings is huge. And they're right. Cap space gives Brett Veach options. It gives us flexibility in free agency. It allows the team to reshape the roster instead of being stuck defending past mistakes. But it also raises a question, who replaces him? Because if you're freeing up money, that money has to translate into improvement. This offensive line can't afford to regress. Mahomes can't afford to take unnecessary hits. And this offense, after ranking near the middle to bottom in key categories last year, can't afford another year of instability in the trenches. What this move really tells me is that the Chiefs are not interested in running it back just because of loyalty. They're not protecting contracts. They're protecting the future. Jawan Taylor was 28, still in his prime years. This isn't a retirement situation. This is purely performance versus value. And when the front office decides the value isn't there anymore, even with a Super Bowl ring attached to your name, they'll move on. That's cold. But that's how championship windows are managed. And here's the emotional layer as a fan. It's uncomfortable. Because when you start cutting high-priced starters, it means you're in transition mode. It means 2026 is going to look different. New faces, new protection schemes, new dynamics up front. We already saw coaching changes. Now roster changes are hitting. And if we're being honest, this might just be the beginning. Because if the Chiefs are willing to admit an $80 million mistake and clear cap space like this, what does that mean for other core pieces? What does that mean for players whose contracts are expiring? What does that mean for guys who helped bring banners to Arrowhead but might not fit the next version of this team? There's another situation brewing that could hit even closer to the heart of Chiefs Kingdom, and it involves someone who played a huge role in those Super Bowl runs. Let's talk about that next. All right, now this one hits differently. Pacheco wasn't just another running back on the roster. He was energy. He was attitude. He was that 7th-round pick who ran like every carry was personal. And now, according to Jesse Newell of The Athletic, he's considered likely to leave in free agency. Let that sink in for a second. A 2-time Super Bowl champion. A guy who helped Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes win it all in 2023 and 2024. And now he might be walking out the door. Pacheco is hitting unrestricted free agency after his rookie deal expired. He turns 27 in March. And while he's free to explore the market, the expectation around the league is that he probably will. Now, we have to be honest about the context. The last 2 seasons haven't been smooth for him. Injuries slowed him down, and 2025 was rough for the entire run game. Kareem Hunt led the team with just 611 rushing yards. Pacheco had 462, Mahomes had 422. When your quarterback is nearly matching your starting running back in rushing production, that tells you everything you need to know about how inconsistent things were on the ground. But numbers don't tell the whole story. Pacheco brought physicality, he brought identity. When this offense needed toughness in cold playoff games, he was the guy lowering his shoulder. He was part of the formula that balanced Mahomes' brilliance with downhill pressure. So when you hear that he's likely leaving, it's not just about replacing stats, it's about replacing tone. Now, from a front office perspective, you can understand it. Injuries, cap management, production dip. This is a business. And after a 6-11 season, Brett Veach and Andy Reid clearly feel like changes are necessary. But as fans, it's tough. Because we remember Super Bowl LVT. We remember those playoff runs. We remember what he meant in big moments. And even if 2025 was disappointing, that doesn't erase the rings. The big question now is, do the Chiefs even try to bring him back? They have options. Free agency could present big names like Kenneth Walker III, Breece Hall, Travis Etienne. The draft is always a possibility. That's how we found Pacheco in the first place, 7th round out of Rutgers. But here's where I get honest with you. If Pacheco leaves, it signals something bigger than just swapping running backs. It means the team is fully resetting parts of its identity. It means no one outside of the core is guaranteed security. It means even Super Bowl contributors are replaceable if the front office believes the ceiling needs to rise again. And when you connect this to the Jawan Taylor move, that's when it becomes clear. This isn't minor tweaking. This is structural change. They're clearing cap space. They're admitting past contracts didn't work. They're preparing to move on from players who were part of championship DNA. All while Mahomes is recovering from a serious knee injury and the offense is trying to find its spark again. To me, this feels decisive. Not desperate, not panicked, decisive. It feels like the organization is saying, we're not clinging to the past, we're building the next version. And as a fan, that's a mix of emotions. There's sadness seeing key contributors potentially walk. There's frustration about how 2025 unfolded, but there's also something else, urgency. Because the Chiefs' window with Mahomes isn't closed, it's evolving. If they nail the cap decisions, if they replace talent intelligently, if they protect Mahomes and rebuild balance on offense, this could be a retool year that sets up another run. But if they miss, if the replacements don't match the production or toughness, then we're looking at a transition period instead of a bounce back. Right now, I see a front office that knows it can't stay comfortable. And honestly, that gives me cautious hope. This is a pivotal offseason. Not flashy, not headline-grabbing in a glamorous way, but foundational. And Chiefs Kingdom. We're about to see what this next chapter really looks like. So here's what this really means for the Kansas City Chiefs right now. This isn't just about Jawan Taylor. It's not just about Isaiah Pacheco. It's about direction. The front office is choosing flexibility over comfort. They're choosing cap space over attachment. They're choosing future structure over past success. And whether we like it or not, that tells us one thing very clearly. This team knows 2025 wasn't acceptable. After missing the playoffs for the first time in over a decade, after watching the offense struggle, after seeing Mahomes go down with a serious injury, they're not pretending everything is fine. They're acting. And as a fan, I respect that. It's uncomfortable seeing familiar names leave. It's tough admitting an $80 million contract didn't work. It hurts thinking a 2-time Super Bowl contributor might walk. But if the goal is to get back to competing for championships, hard decisions are part of it. This feels like a decisive offseason. Not a rebuild, not a collapse, a recalibration. The Chiefs are protecting their window with Mahomes. They're trying to rebuild balance. They're trying to regain physicality. And most importantly, they're refusing to settle for almost. Now the pressure is on. Cap space has to turn into upgrades. Departures have to turn into smarter signings. The draft has to hit. Because if these moves are the start of something strategic, we could look back at this offseason as the turning point that set up the next run. But if they miss, this transition could stretch longer than anyone in Chiefs Kingdom wants. Me personally? I'm cautiously hopeful. I see urgency. I see accountability. And I see a front office that understands the standard in Kansas City is still Super Bowls, not participation. Now I want to hear from you. Are you okay with these tough moves? Would you bring Pacheco back? Do you trust the front office to turn that $20 million into something better? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk it out like real fans. And if you're enjoying this kind of honest, no-fluff Chiefs breakdown, help us hit 600 subscribers. We're building something real here. Chiefs Kingdom talking football the right way. Hit that like button if you believe this team is gearing up for a comeback season. Subscribe if you want to ride through every move, every rumor, every decision with us. I'm Victor, and this offseason, it's just getting started.